Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another weekly Roundup with Immutable Holdings. I'm Billy Baxter, Head of Corporate Development and Operations.
And I'm Jordan Freed, Chairman and CEO of Immutable Holdings.
Well, Jordan, got a lot of stuff that's gone on over the past week since we recorded our last episode, and we kind of alluded to it a bit. But I guess the headlines, or at least the headlines for Immutable Holdings over the past week was we finally launched NFT.com as public beta. So I think, for this episode, Jordan, just because that's a pretty major milestone for us, we just kind of take some time to kind of follow up and talk a little bit more about, what exactly occurred with the launch. And then maybe we can talk a little bit about where things are headed with NFT.com. So that being said, what's your kind of reactions or feelings, or do you want to just maybe, share about like the announcement we made last week with NFT.com?
Yeah, I'm happy to. It was a really exciting week for all involved, and credit to our incredible team that has done an amazing job designing a beautiful product, and then the team that is still hard at work right now optimizing it. Working on load times, making sure the site loads as quickly as possible, making sure that there are new features, that the existing features work. This is in no way, an end point, but a beginning point rather, where now we can move forward as a public beta product. We pushed NFT.com to public beta, which now means that it's no longer restricted just to our Genesis key holders, of which there are a few thousand all over the world. And we are especially grateful to our Genesis key holders for everything that they've done. They were the first to believe in us. They were the first to buy these keys, to access this public beta, to mint their profiles. And we're in no way disregarding our Genesis key holders or forgetting about them, is what I'm trying to say. They will forever be an important part of our community and our ecosystem. But this milestone is now us spreading our wings and allowing people that didn't get a chance to buy a Genesis key that opportunity to use NFT.com. Over the past couple days, we've seen great profiles being minted. A firm called Headwind Labs has created a Twitter bot where you can actually follow all the different profiles being minted. The Genesis key holders can still mint an NFT.com profile, which again is your gallery if you're a collector, your storefront if you're a creator. They can mint those for free. They get 4 free mints, those Genesis key holders, and they don't have to pay annual license fees on those profiles. The new profile registrants going forward are paying 0.03 ETH, which today is around $50, as a mint fee for a 1-year license on a profile, which is very similar to a name service like the Ethereum name service, where you can register your name like BillyBaxter.eth or JordanFree.eth. You can register your NFT.com profile.
Yeah.
This is the way that a user can...
Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt. I was just going to say it's like also similar to like a domain in kind of like the traditional like website sense there.
Exactly. Similar to a domain name. You can register NFT.com, but just because we purchase NFT.com doesn't mean we have to stop paying ICANN and the registrar to update the information and to continue to keep that domain name compliant. You're required to do so on an annual basis and update the contact information. So we're operating very much in the same way. And this is distinct. It's different. This is our model on how to go to market. It's clear over the past couple of days, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about the market, but we've seen OpenSea move to a 0 fee model, which I think is going to be a misstep for them because they don't have what we have, which is this profile-like capability. And I don't really know that people are fighting hand over fist to have OpenSea.io/their name. I'd much rather have NFT.com/J or Jordan or that handle. But it's been great to see, and the mints will continue. It's still a work in progress. We're still just beginning, but now that Billy, I think as you said, to the team, now that we have the plumbing in place, it's now really just a question of us optimizing to grow the traffic to the site, optimizing for the user experience. But we have a working product in the market now that people are paying for. And this is one of the most important milestones in the history of not just the NFT company, but Immutable Holdings.
Definitely. And I guess also I forgot to mention at the beginning of this is we're going to share like all the announcements that we put out last week, press release, blog posts, and then also, kind of like a walkthrough of NFT.com in the link, in the description down below. So if people want to get more information, you can look at that. But hey, Jordan, on that note about profiles, right? Because that is kind of like what essentially NFT.com is offering up. I guess first question to you is, where do people go if they want to get a profile and basically kind of mint their NFT identity on NFT.com? And then also too, we talked about, the profiles offer something more than just, your space on NFT.com. In some ways, they're kind of like a membership. I was curious if you also mind just kind of sharing a bit about what exactly is that kind of like membership within NFT.com, what it looks like.
Yeah, great point. So the NFT.com first, for those that haven't been following, or if this is your first Immutable Holdings weekly update, NFT.com is a platform that allows you to access an aggregator, a robust search feature, which is a discover feature, and allows all users, both creators and collectors, to create profiles. Profiles is our concept of what it means to become like a member or a user of NFT.com. And the best way to think of a profile, because by the way, you don't need a profile to use NFT.com. You can use NFT.com just as an anonymous user that wants to buy or sell an NFT. But to have a profile means you've got this great gallery or this collection, and it requires you to have an Amazon Prime-like subscription where you pay us, again, an annual license fee, 0.03 ETH, to be able to have access to this feature set. We will continue to roll out new features to profile holders. We originally in private beta rolled them out to Genesis key holders. Now we'll be rolling out new features to both Genesis key holders and profile holders. And the way to get these new features will be to have an NFT.com profile. So think of it like that premium subscription. In the context of Amazon, I think you get with a Prime subscription, you get, maybe a discounted fee at checkout or faster shipping options and maybe access to a content library. With NFT.com, we'll continue to roll out new features to the people that have these profiles, and to continue to increase the things that you can do with it, because it's a great website, but it'll only continue to improve from here. So that may include gallery customizations, Billy. That may include different ways to display your storefront, or different payment mechanisms, or things of that nature. We're exploring a whole number of things that you could add. And if you have ideas as well, you can submit them to our product team and we can take those into account. So that's a bit about how the sort of Amazon Prime functionality works for us.
Yeah, and it goes without saying too, where I guess one thing was also covered in our announcements there is that one, profile holders will get discounts on the NFT.com marketplace, and then also too, for kind of a promotional offer, we're offering like 0 fees. And then just so it's said, and also in the video too, if people want to get profiles, go to NFT.com/you, which is essentially the page where you can go and mint. So
sure, or just go to NFT. If you go to NFT.com itself, you'll be greeted with, I think it's something like create a profile, pay low fees, NFT.com/you. That's correct, Billy. Sorry if I glossed over that. Having an NFT.com profile means you effectively pay a 0% marketplace fee. You can use the NFT.com native marketplace for 0%, and we do not also layer a fee on top of your use of OpenSea, LooksRare, X2Y2, because we're aggregating those marketplaces as well. So really cool features. Will only continue to improve from here. And I encourage everyone to go play around with it before all the good names are minted. There's really many still available. I think we're only at 10,000 total profiles minted, but I expect that to grow from here.
As one would say, sprint to mint.
Sprint to mint. I like that.
Yeah. So that's great. And I guess, Jordan, you kind of touched on it at the beginning, and just to level set with the audience here and anyone who's watching NFT.com is, at the end of the day, we're a startup, right? Startups evolve. over time, right? Rome wasn't built in a night. So what this milestone means is that at least we have a working product that's out there, and then ultimately we're going to be optimizing it and taking, user feedback and ultimately improving it. So what people may see today might be entirely different than what's going to be out there like a year or 2 years from now. So we obviously appreciate everyone's support so far along on the journey. So that aside, Jordan, you kind of also, another point I wanted to touch on, and maybe as we kind of zoom out away from NFT.com and Immutable Holdings and look at the market as a whole. So you mentioned something really, a really interesting development that took place last week, specifically around OpenSea, and especially as the NFT.com our aggregator also pulls in information from OpenSea. Do you want to kind of talk about like the, kind of that recent development there? And then I guess also this overall kind of concept around, no fees on a lot of these NFT like marketplaces.
Yeah, I'm happy to. The competition's heating up, and I think I described this to our team, but I want to our listeners here. There's a massive shakeup that's taking place, and it's not the first shakeup in an industry we've seen. We've seen it with, social networks or browsers, and we talked about these great animations almost, where if you look at the browsers that gained market share over time, it's obviously switched from Internet Explorer, it was Mozilla or maybe Safari for a while, and then eventually became Chrome, and eventually went from AltaVista and Ask.com and Yahoo.com to Google. And there's a similar shakeup happening where NFT volume is taking place. It has been OpenSea for a while, but OpenSea has never really had a good moat around it. And we were, I wouldn't say the first to recognize it. Others recognized it. The folks at X2Y2 did, and LooksRare did. There's been several attempts to do other NFT marketplaces. Most recently, one called Blur, which has done an airdrop as their go-to-market, really at the bottom of the market to try to get utility or to get unique listings there. And for several days last week, actually, Blur had exceeded the volume that took place on OpenSea. So it's a fascinating time. Early in 2023, we're seeing a massive shakeup in the NFT space, and this is meaningful for a multitude of reasons. First, if you're an investor in OpenSea and put money into that company at a 13.3, they raised $300 million at a $13.3 billion post-money valuation, you can't be happy with OpenSea losing its grip, its commanding lead in the space, especially in the down market. And that's precisely what's happened. They've continued to lose market share to other upstarts. Of course, I'll be very blunt with those that care to listen to this. Our goal is to take as much of that market share as we can ourselves with NFT.com. And we won't rest until we're at least on the board as one of the top NFT marketplaces in the world. And we really like our opportunity to do that, especially in the bear market. When we said build during the bear, we didn't just mean build a working product and deliver it to market, which we've just done with this public beta, but we actually meant taking market share from some of the others that have it today. And I like our chances at doing that. OpenSea, as an act of desperation, we've seen, has now moved to not enforcing creator royalties, or making them optional rather, and moving to a zero marketplace fee. I do believe these two things are very dangerous, because creators are really what drives the NFT ecosystem. Yuga Labs is a $4 billion company itself from, the valuation that they last raised money at. These are the folks behind the Mutant Ape Yacht Club, the Bored Ape Yacht Club, the Other Side Metaverse. Creators are the ones in the power position. They're the ones behind the steering wheel in the NFT ecosystem, and not enforcing their royalties is frankly a slap in their face. Yes, we do need native royalty enforcement on protocols, but I do not agree with OpenSea's move. OpenSea also does not have a native currency to their marketplace. So the move to a zero fee essentially leaves them with no monetization at all in this particular period, because they don't have the concept of a profile license like we do. So it's a very uncomfortable position for them to be in. I can't imagine their investors are happy. I imagine there's many board meetings being called where they're discussing this at length. But I do think that this was a major misstep, what we saw happening in this market. The market has largely remained unchanged. We're not seeing more than 20,000 daily active buyers or sellers of NFTs. The market cap still hovers around 20 to 23 billion US dollars, still around 4 million unique holders of NFTs on the Ethereum network. But Billy, what a gripping past, I would say 96 hours in the since the end of last week. It's been somewhat of a saga just watching the Blur airdrop unfold,
Yep.
OpenSea's shock announcement, and of course the NFT.com launch.
Exactly. And Jordan, also just because you mentioned about Amazon before, I'm always reminded of this very famous quote from Jeff Bezos. Basically, it goes, "Your margin is my opportunity." So in some ways, the margin that OpenSea had with their marketplace fee is presenting an opportunity for incumbents like ourselves to also rethink how, marketplace and the broader NFT.
Well, they're the incumbent. We're the challenger. So
yeah,
excuse
me. I meant disruptors or upstarts. So yeah, that's correction there.
By the way, I also will say validating for something I said on earlier episodes of this, which is we feel that the NFT marketplace landscape is a race to zero. And I had been called out for saying that. I had several investors call me out for that. I had board members call me out for that. I had people on Twitter call me out for that, right? It's not a race to zero. Well, nope. It is. It absolutely is a race. It absolutely is a race to zero. And we're, by the way, Billy, we're seeing it in the exchange space too. Yep. Binance, for many trading pairs, is dropping their commission to zero as well. We saw it with stocks, right? Yep. E-Trade first dropped to $9.99. Robinhood came in with, hey, zero commission, just get a subscription to Robinhood Gold. Right. And we're adopting that Robinhood Gold model, that Amazon Prime model, where we won't charge you marketplace fees, but get a subscription to NFT.com via a vanity profile URL. Go register yours at NFT.com/you or at NFT.com proper, and be able to get the full benefits of that low fee and the other cool features that come with profiles.
Definitely. And yeah, like you said, that trend is pervasive throughout all different types of marketplaces, all different types of assets, collectibles, etc. So like you said, we observed it and we decided to kind of shift our focus or shift our kind of like strategy there. So definitely. Well, hey, Jordan, I know we wanted to kind of keep this relatively short and just kind of focus on NFT.com. So with that kind of being said, any final, comments or final thoughts before we wrap up?
Just that, again, beginning of the year in Q1, we delivered on the promise. And I do just want to echo that. We are people of our word, men and women of our word. When we say we're going to do something, we do it. And at the end of last year, we told you all there'd be a Q1 launch of our Q1 public beta of NFT.com. We have hit the Q1 public beta milestone. There is a lot more milestones we'll publicly share, and we'll continue to give as much guidance as we can. These aren't formal earnings calls or things of that nature, but you're getting a look into us building the company on a week-to-week basis, which is unique. Again, I wish some of the public companies I held in my equities portfolio gave me this kind of access into how they're operating. So two really big things to look out for now. It's the growth of that coffee and crypto newsletter, which we've talked about in previous weeks, growing that subscriber base. And again, suggesting in a nice way that they become users of NFT.com. Look for synergies for us to take advantage of there. And then also growing that profile subscriber base, which again is a revenue generating thing for the NFT company. And I'm really excited about doing those two things. Going into the end of the year, or through the rest of the year, rather, we're still at the beginning of the year. Don't want to get ahead of myself too much there, but look for us to look for other ways to continue to monetize beyond just those two, beyond just growing that newsletter and looking for either sponsorships or premium products like education products. But look for us to, really put a priority on revenue growth this year. We are a public company. We have a fiduciary responsibility to shareholders. We're aware, I'm not oblivious to the fact that our market cap is down quite a bit, but I don't find that to be anything more than a market commentary on crypto. right? I don't think that the market has taken enough time to look into our business and diligence what we're doing, because if they had, I think the market would realize we're undervalued here. We're drastically undervalued here, and we're going to be opportunistic with that. The market's loss is certainly our gain, and let's keep building, Billy. Let's keep building.
Keep on building. Well, I guess on that note, Jordan, we'll wrap it up here. So thanks everyone for joining. Really appreciate it. Like we said, we're going to share a bunch of links regarding the NFT.com public beta in the description down below. And as always, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you all.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you all, and talk to you next week.
NFTs are pictures. Or drawings, right? Of monkeys and birds and people. But they're also concert tickets, property deeds, trading cards, contracts, and music. So maybe NFTs aren't just one thing, which is why NFT.com isn't just one thing either. We're your home for all things NFTs, a place where you can display, trade, and engage without opening a million tabs. When you join NFT.com, you join our exclusive NFT ecosystem that gives you access to the lowest marketplace fees, direct offers, and the ability to promote your NFT collection, all through your very own Web3 social profile. And we know what you're thinking. There are way too many NFT marketplaces, which is why at NFT.com, we're bringing the marketplaces to you. We aggregate NFTs from X2, Y2, LooksRare, and OpenSea to make sure you're always getting the best possible price without having to search every site. NFT.com, your one-tab NFT experience. Mint your profile now at NFT.com/you.